You can spend a whole day around people, the group chat, your coworkers, 100 faces in your feed, and still feel like not one of them really knows you. And here's what should bother you about that. Your brain treats that feeling like a physical threat. Same wiring, same alarm. Not sadness, danger. Nobody really says this part out loud, so I will. The loneliness a lot of you are carrying right now isn't a personal failing. You're not awkward or broken or bad at people. You're living in a world that keeps handing you contact while quietly starving you of closeness. By the end of this, you'll know why it's happening, what it does to your body, and why the people who feel it the worst are usually the last ones you'd ever suspect. Think back to the last time you felt truly lonely. I'd bet you weren't even alone. Group chat going off, table full of people, 100 faces scrolled past before you'd gotten out of bed.
And under all of it, that quiet little voice, nobody here actually knows me. If that lands, this one's for you. I'm not talking about the loneliness of an empty room. It's the other kind. The kind where you're reachable all day and still go to sleep unreached. Let me ask you something. Why does a feeling, something with no physical cause at all, leave you physically wrecked? That's not me being poetic. There's an actual answer, and it sits in a part of your brain that's older than language. Loneliness isn't only an emotion. To your body, it's an alarm going off. A neuroscientist named John Cacioppo spent basically his entire career on this. What he found is that the brain handles long-term loneliness the same way it handles a physical threat. The nervous system goes on guard. Cortisol climbs. Your sleep gets worse. The whole body braces, like being cut off from your group is something that could get you killed. For most of human history, it was. Get separated from your people, and you didn't last long out there. So the brain still files isolation under emergency. It never got the memo that times changed. That's why this shows up in the body, the weight on your chest, the tired that sleep won't fix. You're not being dramatic. That's a survival system from 100,000 years ago, firing in a world it was never meant for. So the real question was never, why do I feel this? It's, what about modern life keeps tripping an alarm built for the savannah? 5 reasons. The last one is the one almost nobody will admit to. 1. We swapped closeness for contact. Keeping tabs on people has never been easier. You know who got engaged, who switched jobs, who posted something sad at 2 in the morning. More access to other people's lives than anybody in history. And here's what rides along with all that access. You can have more friends than your great-grandparents could have dreamed of and still end up lonelier than they ever were.
Contact climbed. Closeness dropped. Turns out they were never the same number. Knowing what's going on in someone's life isn't the same as being in their life. A reaction isn't a conversation. A like isn't care. We should catch up soon. That one almost never actually happens. And your brain slowly starts confusing the two. It logs all that contact as connection, so it keeps quiet during the day. But contact doesn't feed the part of you that needs to be known, so the hunger never gets fed. It just gets shoved to later, until you're lying in bed at night, technically connected to hundreds of people, and the alarm finally goes off. 2. Getting seen started passing itself off as belonging. Social media looks like the cure at first. People see you, they react, they confirm you exist. But being watched is a different thing from being kept company. We mix those up constantly. So, honest question. Your worst night this year, who could you have actually called? Not texted, not posted at.
Picked up the phone and called. Hold that name in your head a second. For a lot of you, the unsettling part is how long it takes to land on one. That's the cruel twist in it. The more visible your life gets, the easier it is to hide right there in plain sight. You can post a piece of yourself every single day to hundreds of people and have no one to reach for the night it all falls apart. And it goes deeper. Everyone else's feed looks invited, loved, busy living some full golden life. So your loneliness stops feeling like a passing mood and starts feeling like evidence, like the problem is specifically you. The next reason is worse though, because it doesn't even read as loneliness, it reads as strength. 3. Independence quietly curdled into isolation. Some of the loneliest people you know don't look lonely at all. They look solid, self-sufficient, like they've got the whole thing handled. And that's not the opposite of loneliness. A lot of the time, it's the costume it wears. We pour praise on people for needing nothing, carrying it all alone, low maintenance, never a burden, never too much. And look, some of that really is healthy. But watch what happens when "I can do this alone" hardens into "I have to do this alone." That's where it goes wrong. Here's the bit the culture skips right past. We were never built to run solo. We were built to lean on each other, and I mean that literally. Your nervous system settles down through other people. A calm voice slows your heart rate. Someone steady in the room drops your stress level. That's not weakness, that's just how the machine works. So plenty of people aren't lonely because nobody's around. They're lonely because somewhere along the way, they forgot how to let anyone in. They turn down the help before it can disappoint them. Keep everything light. Turn the hurt into a joke before anybody clocks it. They'll call it independence. Sometimes it's just isolation wearing a better outfit. 4. The places where belonging used to just happen are gone. Quick one. When's the last time you ran into someone by accident? Not planned, not scheduled, just there they were. If you had to stop and actually think about it, that's not nothing. Connection rarely dies in some big dramatic falling out. Most of the time, it just runs out of room to happen. Think about how the real bonds in your life actually formed. Not from one big heart to heart. From showing up in the same place over and over. The corner store, the cafe, the gym, the class, the church, whatever it was. You kept turning up. The same faces kept turning up. And the bond grew in the background while nobody was even trying to build it. There's a name for those spots. Third places. Not home, not work. Somewhere you're just recognized. And modern life keeps quietly deleting them. Everything's online now. Everyone's moving cities. Everyone's wiped out. After a 10-hour day, who's got it in them to go build a community from scratch? So people aren't antisocial. They're socially homeless. There's no natural place left where they're expected or noticed or missed when they don't show. And once that's gone, the last reason is what locks the door behind them. 5. We protect ourselves right out of connection. This is the one hardly anyone will own up to. The lonelier a person gets, the less they reach out. Not more, less. Which means the people who need it the most quietly become the hardest people on earth to reach. Get let down enough times and you don't get louder about it. You get quiet. You stop being the one who texts first. You stop saying when something stung. You read the message, you mean to reply later, and then you vanish for 3 days. Not because you stopped caring. Because even connection started to feel like a lot. And then the trap snaps shut.
The loneliness slips into your personality and starts wearing your own voice. I'm just independent. I like my space. I'm bad at texting. And sometimes, sure, that's all true. But sometimes it's armor. The kind you only build after connection stopped feeling safe. That's the cruelest piece of the whole thing. The lonelier someone feels, the less they'll let it show. So the ones actually going under are the ones who look the most fine. So if all of this is baked into the world itself, then here's the question that should sit with you. Whose fault is your loneliness actually? Because the answer flips just about everything you've been told. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General called loneliness a public health epidemic, and he put a number on it that most people have never heard. Poor social connection raises your risk of dying early by about as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Sit with that one.
When a private feeling gets dangerous enough that a government issues a formal health warning over it, it hasn't been just your problem for a long time. A whole culture can manufacture disconnection and burnout, and then turn around, hand each person the bill, and tell them to fix it on their own. Your loneliness isn't proof you failed at life. If anything, it's proof you're still wired for something deeply human, in a world that keeps shoving cheap substitutes at you instead. Not more followers, not more messages, not more noise. Closeness. The real kind. Slow, a little awkward, imperfect. Because the opposite of loneliness was never being surrounded. It was being known. So let me just ask you straight. Is the modern world actually making people lonelier?
Or did we just forget how to get close to each other? Tell me down in the comments. And if you caught yourself somewhere in this video, send it to someone who needs to hear that their loneliness was never a character flaw. Subscribe if you want more of these. The quiet psychology behind the stuff people never say out loud. See you next time.